all these people here, usually the person that is working with a team of 4 or 5 people, and now
Good afternoon to everyone. Please take your seat. We can start with our meeting. Welcome. And I'm Emilio Ciarlo. I'm the Director General of the One Water Committee. Now I have also the name. As you know, the One Water Committee is organizing the Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum in Rome next year. And we have participated to the One Water project, which is the other object of our meeting today. We will have 2 sessions, basically. The first one is about One Water project, the outcomes, the results of the project that we have conducted through these here during the 2025 with 3 regional meetings, convening more than 200 people, experts from all over the region, and discussing about issues of water, as you can imagine. After the first session, during the first session, we will listen to the experts and representatives of the 3 regions that we have identified, the North African region, the Balkans, and the Middle East, where we have had these meetings. You will listen the results, the priorities, the issues, the main issues that we have discussed. And then in the second session, after a coffee break, we will present the Euro-Mediterranean Forum. I don't want to waste more time because we have so many distinguished friends and representatives from the different partners that we have in this process. So I want to give them the floor. Let me say one thing. Yesterday, I was in front of my TV and I was watching a movie, science fiction movie. They were going to Mars with a starship, a multinational team, and at a certain moment, a crisis. It was a movie, obviously, a Hollywood movie. There was a crisis, and the crisis was not for the aliens or for the cosmic radioactive ray or other mechanical things. The problem was the water, because they had no water. At a certain moment during the trip, they had no water. So water is a cosmic problem. It's not only a Euro-Mediterranean problem or a world problem. It becomes a cosmic problems. And you know that the scientists have identified waters on Mars. So I was planning a big aqueduct, cosmic aqueduct from Mars to the Earth to bring water. Because you know that the water that we have now is the same water that the dinosaurs had. So we have the same water, and the cycle, is the same cycle, but the water is always the same. But now we have this hope to have water on Mars. Let me present my panel. I mean, we have Professor Abu Zaid, who is the president of Arab Water Council, Walid Akiki, who is the chairman of the Cairo Water Week, Marco Rago, who is the vice president of One Water Committee, Biagio Di Terlizzi, who is the director of Siambari, and Gramenos Mastroianni, who is the deputy secretary general for energy and climate action for UFM. But first of all, let me give the floor to the deputy ambassador to Egypt, Italian ambassador to Egypt, Mariella La Roccia. Please, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for your introductory remark.
Thank you, Emilio. Professor Mahmoud Abu Zaid, President of the Arab Water Council, Chairman Walid Hakiki, Councillor Marco Rago, Mr. Biagio and Gramenos, Excellencies, friends, dear guests, Sadat Sadam, Masal Khair. It is really a privilege to join you here today at the Cairo Water Week 2025. And I'm here to express the sincere appreciation and to convey the regards of His Excellency Ambassador Michele Quaroni, who is otherwise engaged in Sharm el-Sheikh and cannot be here with us today. And we're very grateful to the government of Egypt and the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation, Dr. Hani Suwilan, for organizing this important event, which has become, in fact, a key platform for dialogue, cooperation, and innovation on water issues in our region and beyond. Like Emilio was saying, a cosmic problem, but I'll try to focus on, let's say, planet Earth, which is the only one we have, where water is not only a vital resource, it's a key catalyst for peace, development, and human dignity. In a time marked by climate change, population growth, and increasing pressure on natural resources, we must act together to ensure sustainable and equitable water management for present and future generations. Italy and Egypt share a long-standing partnership in this field. Through our bilateral cooperation, and I'm really happy to acknowledge our Italian Agency for Development Cooperation, represented here by several experts and chaired by our director, Dr. Tiberio Chiari. With both bilaterally and within the framework of the European Union and the Mediterranean initiatives, Italy has been actively supporting projects aimed at improving water efficiency, promoting renewable energy for irrigation, and strengthening institutional and technical capacities. We are very proud to work in a multi-stakeholder approach involving Egyptian institutions, research centers, local communities, and business partners in developing innovative solutions that combine advanced technology with traditional knowledge. Now, this partnership reflects our shared vision that sustainable water management is key to inclusive growth and regional stability. Like Councillor Rago knows, and Minister Suelan stated yesterday, water is a driver for peace, but can also be a factor of deeply rooted instability. This is why Italy is very proud to recall the One Water project launched under the leadership of the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Antonio Tajani, with CWW Bari and the One Water Italy Committee, which has provided a unique platform to strengthen cooperation across the Middle East and North Africa, the Balkans, and beyond. To address this challenge, One Water Italy Committee, CWW Bari, and the Arab Water Council has initiated a series of international workshops over the past months. And now today we are defining shared priorities to feed into the Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum to be held in Rome next March, where Egypt, let me tell you, has a very, very privileged position and a very special role of partnership. Also in the light of several initiatives launched by the Egyptian government, among which I may only recall a few, and especially the Nexus for Food, Water and Energy launched by Her Excellency Minister of Planning and International Cooperation, Dr. Rania El Mashot. This is why we count on Egypt to give special contribution to the Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum, and we count to have Dunya represented at the highest level in Rome next March. I'm very confident that the discussions and the outcomes of this Cairo Water Week 2025 will contribute to advancing the global agenda in partnership between Egypt and Italy and the countries, the wider countries in this common body of water on which we all to which we all owe our cooperation and our the bridges that connect our nations together. Thank you very much. Also, again, on behalf of Ambassador Quaroni, and I wish you a very fruitful exchange of ideas during this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Mariella La Roccia. Now I will start with Mahmoud Abu Zaid, who is the president of the Arab Water Council. The Arab Water Council is one of our partners, but he is really one of the most prominent expert in water sector. He is well known everywhere in the Arab region, not only in the Arab region. And I think we really need, sincerely, we need his wisdom, his experience, and also his vision. So if you can reach me near the podium, I'm really honored to give you the floor. Professor Abu Zaid.
Thank you very much, Dr. Carlo. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Excellencies, esteemed colleagues from the One Water Committee, CWW Bari, and the Union for the Mediterranean. Dear partners, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. It is a great privilege to welcome you all. I extend my sincere gratitude to our co-organizers and to each one of you for your presence, which underscores our shared unwavering commitment to securing our most precious shared resource, water. We meet here in Cairo at a moment of both crisis and convergence. We are all actually aware of the facts Water is the lifeblood of our societies, our economies, and our ecosystems. It is the fundamental thread running through the entire 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Yet, across Mediterranean and Arab regions, this lifeline is stretched to its breaking point. Climate change intensified, droughts and floods, populations growth, and competing demands from agriculture, industry, and cities create untenable pressures. The result is a clear and present danger. Water insecurity and mismanagement threaten the well-being of millions and the sustainability of our shared environments. But we are not here today merely to reiterate these challenges. We are here to build on the solutions we have already begun and the emerging opportunities to forge together through the One Water project. The session in Cairo is not an isolated event. It is a strategic culmination of a journey we began together, a journey of deliberate, inclusive dialogue. We started in Amman, engaging the nations of the Mashriq. We then moved to Bari, where our colleagues from the Balkans demonstrated powerful commitments to regional cooperation. And most recently, in Tunisia, the nations of the Maghreb shared their innovative strides in efficiency and non-conventional resources. From the Jordan Valley to the Adriatic coast to the North African Sahel, a single powerful message has echoed. Our water futures are extremely linked. Effective management is impossible in isolation. It demands regional solidarity, policy alignment, and the bold integration of innovation. Therefore, as we open this session, I wish to place before you a conclusive recommendation from the Arab Water Council, one that I hope will guide our discussions today and feed directly into the roadmap for the Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum, which will be presented later. The diagnostic phase is over. The path forward must be extraordinary and actionable. We must bridge the gap between knowledge and implementation. First, we must expand this initiative to encompass all Mediterranean nations. Water scarcity knows no borders, and neither should our cooperation. Second, we must champion the establishment of a permanent Euro-Mediterranean Nexus Innovation and Policy Hub. This hub must be empowered with a clear mandate to advance two critical fronts. One, to foster water diplomacy and craft shared legal frameworks that transform water into an instrument of lasting peace. And two, to launch a regional acceleration program that scales tangible solutions from digital water management to solar-powered desalination. But this requires the third and most critical step. We must collectively elevate water to a supreme political and economic priority. We must unlock the national budgets and cross-sectorial reforms that crisis warrants. And to measure our true progress, we must adopt common water energy food ecosystems nexus. Indicators, a theme I know will be echoed in the presentation on converging challenges. The success of the One Water project depends entirely on our courage to collaborate. I assure you that the Arab Water Council is unconditionally committed to this path. We will work hand in hand with every partner here to ensure our collective voice shapes the agenda for the Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum in Rome in 2026. The challenges are alarming, but our opportunities for transformative change, which we will explore in depth today, are far greater. Your expertise is the most valuable resource in this room. Let us use these next hours productively. Let us leave here with not just a document, but a pledge to manage our water fairly, efficiently, and sustainably for every future generation. I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks and deep appreciation to our strategic partners, the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the One Water Committee and Chiambari, of course, for their enduring and fruitful partnership over the years and for their continued commitment to future collaborative initiatives to sustain and strengthen our collaboration. I now look forward to the insights of my fellow speakers and sincere wishes for a fruitful and successful session. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Because I said that you have to listen to Mr. Abu Zaid, to Professor Abu Zaid. He talked about Mediterranean. He talked about the cooperation. He talked about the regional, the idea of regional hubs, of regional initiatives. This is very important because we want to keep the idea and the dimension of Mediterranean in our heart, and is our mission. That's why we are organizing the Euro-Mediterranean Forum, and after having organized IME, after the IME has been organizing the Mediterranean Forum for so many years. So it's very important that we keep the dimension of Mediterranean as something that unites the northern part, the southern part. That's why I want to present and give the floor to Walida Kiki, who is a man of bridges. Now he is the businessman in the panel because he is the chairman of the Cairo Water Week. So thank you very much. We have invited him to be part of our international committee because we want to have a partnership with the Cairo Water Week, with Cairo and with Egypt. It's very important that our forums, our fora in Rome and in Cairo are in connection as still, and we'll continue to have a dialogue and a conversation. So Walid, please, and after you will tell me some suggestions in the organizing and logistical, because we need it.
Thank you very much. So, Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, esteemed partners, ladies and gentlemen, It is a profound privilege to welcome you all to this truly pivotal session here in the heart of the Cairo Water Week. As an executive director of the Cairo Water Week, I'm deeply honored that we are hosting the crucial concluding stage of the One Water Project's dialogue process. Cairo, as a historical crossroads and a contemporary hub for water diplomacy in the Middle East and Africa, is the natural place for this essential regional convergence to take root. I wish to recognize and thank the key leaders who have championed this comprehensive approach. Her Excellency the Ambassador, the dedication of Dr. Marco Rago from the One Water Committee, the academic rigor of Dr. Biagio Di Terlizzi, I hope I'm pronouncing that good, from Siambari, and the essential voice of the Union for the Mediterranean, represented by Mr. Graminos Mastrioni. I especially wish to celebrate the unwavering partnership of the Arab Water Council, led by the President, Professor Mahmoud Abized, whose convening power has been indispensable throughout this journey. We gather not just as colleagues, but as custodians of a shared and severely challenged ecological future. The Mediterranean region is a recognized global climate hotspot, warming at a rate significantly faster than the world average. This is a strategic reality we face. The threat of extreme and prolonged droughts, the degradation of our precious ecosystem, and immense pressure from rapidly growing populations, whose demand for water is projected to increase sharply over the coming decades. Achieving water security is now inseparable from ensuring energy, food, and environmental security. We must address these challenges holistically through the integrated lens of water, energy, food, ecosystem nexus. These challenges are too vast and too interconnected to be solved in isolation. They demand a response that is multi-country, multi-sectoral, and driven by profound regional solidarity. This is the core purpose of the One Water Project, launched under the leadership of the Italy's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. This initiative recognized that our fragmented efforts were insufficient. We need to unify our strategic vision. And so over the past months, your teams have embarked on an intensive journey across the region, holding crucial multi-stakeholder dialogues in 3 strategic sub-regions. In Amman, addressing the specific resources, challenges, and cooperative frameworks of the Mashriq. In Bari, focusing on the context-specific solutions and practices in the Balkans. And in Tunis, driving discussion on the priorities and the governance gaps within the Maghreb. These consultations were the engine room of this project. They allowed the One Water Project to successfully map existing national strategies, assess technological and institutional gaps, and define shared priorities based on evidence, not merely ambition. This work has laid concrete foundation for a regional consensus. Today, here at the Cairo Water Week, we conduct the most important step in that process, the convergence. So this session is designed to transform the mosaic of regional data and insights, including the vital experience of Egypt and its national efforts into a cohesive, actionable, unified strategic vision for the entire Mediterranean. This is where we move from identifying challenges to aligning on solutions. We must ensure that the output of this final meeting is a consolidated regional priority package that bridges science, policy, and implementation. The unified vision we finalized today is more than a document. It is the strategic voice of the Mediterranean, ensuring our priorities are strongly and coherently positioned on the world stage. This roadmap will provide concrete input to a critical sequence of international milestones. First, it will feed directly into the planning for the Cairo Water Week 2026, ensuring our regional and international events serve as the primary preparatory platform. It will shape the agenda for the inaugural Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum in Rome in 2026 And finally, it will strategically position our region ahead of the UN Water Conference in the UAE in 2026 as well, and the World Water Forum in Riyadh into 2027. We are establishing the definitive regional platform to accelerate progress toward SDG 6. I urge all participants to engage with a spirit of collective ownership and determination. Let us consolidate the strong foundation we have built and finalize a strategic vision that moves beyond dialogue and into committed investment and transformative actions. I wish you all highly productive and fruitful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Walid. Now it's the turn of Aquaman. You know, Aquaman is always a movie. We have Marco Rago, who is the advisor to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for international cooperation. He's Aquaman because he is so passionate about this issue. He's not so, as handsome as the actor who played Aquaman in the movie. Anyway, he is working on it. Marco, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Emilio. Aquaman is new really. Excellencies, distinguished guests, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, friends of water diplomacy. It's a great honor to be here today at the Cairo Water Week, representing Italy and our Ministry of Foreign Affairs International Cooperation and the National Italian One Water Committee. When our ministry decided to finance the One Water project, we probably did not imagine the virtuous mechanism we were about to set in motion. The environmental crisis in the Mediterranean and the urgent challenges related to water security were already clear. Our sea is warming 20% faster than the global average, and this can only worsen the water gap, the difference between the water available and the water used for human purpose through our region. The One Water project marks both the beginning and the core of Italy's renewed contribution to tackling and solving together the challenge of our region. Through 4 regional meetings, several institutional missions, and 4 thematic groups, the project has developed a detailed mapping of water policies, legislation, and governance practices in 17 partner countries, including Mauritania, Algeria, Morocco, Egypt, Tunisia, Lebanon, Jordan, and the Balkans area, and others, involving over 100 experts, policymakers, and managers from across the region. You will soon hear more detail from the director of SIAM, Biagio Di Terlizzi, that I thank him, and from the project coordinator. You will also hear directly from the participants of this working session about the recommendations, priorities, and solutions. This objective is also one of the main slogan, goals, and the guiding principle of the Euro-Mediterranean Forum of Rome, which will take place in 2027-26. The Rome Forum will be an open and cooperative platform, bringing together governments, experts, and civil society to shape a shared Mediterranean vision of water. At this point, I would like to warmly thank Professor Abdul Zaid, President of Arab Water Council, Dr. Walid Hihi, CEO of the Cairo Water Week, for accepting our invitation, the Rome Forum. The forum aims to cooperate with all other events in the region, from Cairo to Istanbul, while bringing its own energy, innovation, and Mediterranean spirits. Allow me, before concluding, a brief but important reflection. In the Mediterranean, water and peace are deeply connected. Cooperation over water can and must become a bridge for dialogue and mutual understanding, even among those divided by conflict. Italy firmly believes that water diplomacy can open the way to communication, stability, and shared development, included between area Balkan, North Africa, Middle East, and Europe. UFM is a precious partner in this adventure, in this initiative. And for this reason, I want to thank deeply Mr. Germanos Mastroianni, is the Deputy Secretary General UFM. And I want the same profoundly thanks IME, International Mediterranean Institute, with the friend Alain Messonnier, that with us co-working to organize a new way from water in the Mediterranean area in 2026. We are confident that together with trust, hope, cooperation, and both human and artificial intelligence, we can succeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, you know, in the Mediterranean, we are so diverse, we are so different, we breathe our differences, which is in the air, which is in our history. And there are some places in the Mediterranean where these differences, they live together and they produce knowledge, produce things that are very precious. One of these places is in Bari, and is the Siam Bari. We have the director of Siam Bari, Biagio Di Terlizzi, who is a friend of mine. So, Biagio, now the floor is yours.
Sorry, Emilio, but I'm friends of Egyptian, not just of you. Yeah, good afternoon. There are just a few words because I have no eloquence as the other, just they spoke, but I have the right to say some things because the Institute has been charged to manage a project that name One Water Project. Now, I should say thanks to the Italian cooperation and to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, to the Italian agency, to the embassy, but Avvocato Rago. The name of project is One Water Project, but it will be not just one project on water. This is just to begin. And let's say, of course, I thanks, as I did, the Italian Minister of Foreign Affairs, because they rely on the Institute to implement, to make some things not for 1 year, but with a long vision that we think could come up to 2030 eventually, and even more. The Comitato of One Water and all my colleagues, because my background is a virologist, not really speaking about water, but I started working in the Institute on 86. At that time, there were two persons very strategic in my life and in the life of the Institute. His Excellency Abu Zaid, and I'm honored also to remember the personality of Atef Hamdi that make possible what now the Institute is doing regarding water. And I would like to make a applaud to him because he made cover. Now, why the Institute has been involved? To make an expanded vision of the Mediterranean country. The Avvocato Rago said that more than 100 scientists has been involved, not just the Mediterranean countries, but also the countries that are behind the Mediterranean. Now, with the SIAM, Italy was trying to see something larger than the Mediterranean. And we are always counting since the beginning of the project to end this project here in Egypt. Because if we want to do things huge and bigger, we have only to we have only two things and do with the Egyptian institution. This is, has to be clear. But also the involvement of Siambari has been for the how to make a strategic orientation. To whom? The Italian strategic orientation. Because to bring knowledge in competencies, and just to look for challenge and make cooperation activity and opportunity in the different country. Just one example. Italy is engaged in Tunisia with a project that has been it will be the biggest project that Italy are doing with the Italian, which has one objective, is to make a yellow territory, means where there is a desert already, in green, to change the color from yellow to green. Why? With something that you will discuss, which is non-conventional water use. Bring what is already produced in Tunis, in Sousse, in Sfax, and bring tens and tens of kilometers where already desert is over there. And the green is not the color, is the color of economy, is the color of the resilience of people that will be and have an opportunity to stay over there, to work and be proud of their country. Now, perhaps I'm going long, but let's say there is another issue why Institute has been involved, to try to root a dialogue. The dialogue has been already mentioned by the Avvocato Rago. We are a good player. We are, say, player of the same team. But the dialogue among the Mediterranean Institute of Water, the IME, about the Union for the Mediterranean, with the Arab Water Council, those are the people that they can really make possible the governance. But nothing can be done if there are no researchers, if there are no civil society involved, if there are not youth, men and women working on this. This is a co-producer knowledge existing that could then become a kind of co-implementation, as has been reported before by the Professor Amuset. We need competence and skill. Few words, what has been collected in these 5, say, regional meeting that has been mentioned. It has been demanded governance institution, finance, data digitalization, non-conventional water use management, and develop regional cooperation and water, energy, food, ecosystem nexus. This has been demanded. Means that is a multi-dimensional approach, and this has to be done, making together technical priority, governance, partnership, and also digitalization, because nowadays we cannot improve, we cannot reach the last farmer. Now, this is a collective intelligence of the Mediterranean. I will stop now, just say one word. There is here was not written Siam, is written Siam, without E. The E was the education, but was just a mistake. This is to say that has been made 130 research in the institute with Egyptian scientists on water. This is the collective knowledge, which is not some things of the past, some things that is building and developing the future. In this sense, the institute will work not only for 2026, Avvocato Rago, Professor Abu Zaid, Segretario Generale, Deputy Secretary General Mastroianni, but also for the 27th and the 23rd, working together. And we are the team of Yambari that works also with you and for you too.
We are taking home the idea of having a follow-up for after the One Water project that we will call the Two Water project, because after One Water project there will be One Water, the Two Water project. Now, there's another place in the Mediterranean where where they keep this idea, this dimension of the Mediterranean as a treasure that we have to keep. As in Barcelona, is the Union for Mediterranean. I like very much the title and the name of the Union for Mediterranean. And now we have the Deputy Secretary General for Energy and Climate Action, Gramenos Mastroianni, who is a stunning speaker. So it's a pleasure to give him the floor. Okay. You'll be brief.
Thank you, Emilio. So many compliments. Good afternoon, Excellencies. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and above all, dear friends. I think that at least with half of you, I can say dear friends, because we know personally. You know, after 30 years, tackling climate change, water, lands, forest fires, you develop an armor, because normally your task is to convey caution about call to action for gloomy scenarios. How hard is the situation in the Mediterranean concerning water? We all know in this room, no need to explain it. Maybe just it is useful to recall that there is, on one hand, a specific environmental problem with water, but then we also need to remember that water is the transmission chain for all the other environmental problems. Name it forest fires, name it glaciers, it's always an issue of water. So today I'm happy. I don't have to describe any gloomy scenario, but I would like to bring you with me to a reasoning, one of those that makes us be aware of things that normally are discovered by future generations. When people are into a crucial moment, normally they don't realize how important it is. But I believe we have enough awareness to understand that we are indeed in a crucial moment. And the way to describe it, I think, is with one word, which is momentum. I started the morning intervening together with the Egyptian Minister of Water and Irrigation, and I could say momentum. Then I met our Turkish friends and colleague, and I can say momentum. Momentum in which sense? You know, when you talk water, but the same goes with energy, the same goes with waste management, you don't only talk a commodity, you talk sovereignty, self-determination. And this is sacred. It took a lot of time for this to be universally recognized. Except that if you take this idea of sovereignty and self-determination only in a closed approach, you end up concluding that the land is mine, the water that pertains on it is mine, so I decide what happens, which is all very fair, is very true. But the problem is, can we objectively make good choices only thinking in our own perspective with no partnership? Cooperation in water has been existing now for a long time. It has been private cooperation, foreign or cross investments. It has been governmental cooperation according to the classical lines, technology transfer, funds, and this kind of thing. But now something is happening. I used to say, and people thought I was crazy, that climate change is a terrible challenge, but it's also our best opportunity to achieve what the Mediterranean was never able to achieve, which is peace. Because it puts us in front of the evidence that nobody can make it alone in every sector. The Mediterranean is dangerous not only because there will be severe impacts from climate change and other aspects, but also because it is asymmetric. It is a place of rich and poor. But notwithstanding that, Nobody around the Mediterranean on its own has enough means to face a crisis of this space and of this magnitude. But if we put together all those differences, even those differences that made us have misunderstandings in the past, we end up having a larger basket of solutions. Momentum. This is something that is happening now. The Rome Initiative, the Rome Forum, the Euro-Mediterranean Forum are an important part of this change in perspective, which can save us. No more yours and mine, while we recognize that, yes, this is your sovereignty and this is my sovereignty. And I'll give you a practical example. Climate bands are shifting north very quickly. If you are in the sector of wine and vine, you know about it. Popularly, they say that we will soon make champagne in Denmark. This is a good thing, but during a certain period of time, the know-how to make champagne will stay in France, and maybe the grapes will be in Denmark. In 10, 15 years' time, Southern Europe will have a climate that doesn't know how to handle. It has never been ours. But our friends in the South do know how to handle it. We don't even have the phytogenetic heritage to have functional agricultures in Southern Mediterranean. And again, to make it very clear, is maybe very soon we will have to make income out of argan oil, where we used to make income out of olive oil. If you're in face of such a shifting of production, of localization and things like that, do you think that without cooperation, without considering water a shared benefit, we can have only relying on the effectiveness, that's true, on the effectiveness of free market, but only relying on the effectiveness of free market without cooperation, without integration? Where are we going to be? We're going to be in societal shocks. We're going to be in markets that become irrational. Now, what's happening, what started in Rome, what is starting in Turkey, etc., they're all signs of this imperceptible but really fundamental shift. This is a momentum that can change our futures. Climate change obliges us to understand one fundamental thing, and water, as the conveyor belt of every problem we will have in facing the demise of the environment, is crucial in this. This is the one thing that we are discovering. I need you, you need me. It means I respect your sovereignty, you respect my sovereignty, but being sovereign means we're strong enough to work together. Thank you.
So we have handed the first session. Let me say, Gramenos, that I don't know if it's a good idea to have champagne in Denmark or couscous in Switzerland. I don't know. I think I think it's not so good. But it's very important to have this vision of the future, of the horizon, not only to 2026, not only 2027 or 2028, where there will be the end of the decade on water. We want, as Italy, we would love to bring the United Nations conference in the Mediterranean area in 2030, after the next conference in December in 2026. So we can work together to have this result, because the Mediterranean, you know, that is a hot spot. It's a very important place. I think we deserve to have this kind of meeting at a global level, even because we have been the cradle of civilization in Greece, in Rome, in Egypt, obviously, and we can be the cradle of a new hope for water in the future. So let me ask, beg, pray my friend Rula Kada to take the chairmanship of the next session, which is the session where you will listen to the regional outcomes that coming out from the meetings that we have had. So thank you very much to our speakers. Rula, you will guide the session. You're right, because we have to add to our to thank, after having thanked all the people, we have to say thank you very much to the Italian Cooperation Agency, which has helped us to build this session, and I have been working for them for several years. I know how much they are doing in water sector, so thank you very much also to the Italian Agency for Cooperation. We have here the director in Egypt, in Cairo, and then Paolo Sertoli from Mozambique. Please.
You're done? Can I start the serious work? Thank you. Thank you, Emilio. Thank you for all our distinguished speakers. And somebody feels home. I'm at home. Because I'm Lebanese Italian, and Egypt is home as well. Because I'm a science coordinator at Siambari, but I'm also a governor at the Arab Water Council. So Professor Abu Zaid is my president. Having said that, this morning, Emilio and the speakers were underlining the processes that were undertaken under the framework of the One Water project by the One Water Committee and its partners. So the Arab Water Council, the Union for the Mediterranean, the Institut Méditerranéen de l'eau, and Siambari. And now it is a clue moment, because we need to hear not from the One Water Committee or from these regional partners, but from the stakeholders who were the real actors in these processes. What were the outcomes? So we will start with the Mashriq region, and I kindly ask the former Siambari and the Director General of WANA Institute from Jordan, Dr. Majd Naber, to present the outcomes of the Mashriq process.
Thank you, Dr. Rula. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me introduce myself again. I'm Majd Naber from Jordan. I'm the Director General for the WANA Institute. WANA is abbreviation of West Asia North Africa Institute. We are a policy think tank working in Jordan, but we do have a regional mandate. We are working in sustainable development. How does it work? So sustainable development, human security, and social justice. Before I start with presenting the finding in Mashriq region in Amman workshop, I would like to thank Iyambari and the Arab Water Council, especially Dr. Ola, for the kind invitation and for their trust to give me the privilege to present the finding that was as a result of 2 days, concrete 2 days discussion in Amman for the priority for the Mashriq region. And during that 2 days, we discussed the main thematic areas that the region is working on. And then we identified the challenges and the gaps and that hindering the progress of developing these or achieving these for thematic area. And then we have the consent of introducing and developing 5 main priorities where we introduced to One Water project in order to facilitate the implementation of these strategies. May I use this mic? Is it working?
Hello, hello, hello.
Okay, perfect. So can you hear me? This is perfect. So during the two workshops, we started with, or in the Mashraq region, we had these 2 days, and we had a representative from different countries in the Mashraq region, from Jordan, from Lebanon, from Syria, from Saudi Arabia, and from, it's not working, done? Okay, from Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine, Syria, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia. As I mentioned, we identify gaps and challenges that are facing the WANA region, and we end up providing strategical priorities to the One World. Coming from the Mashriq region, it's a region that's well known for its aridity, for water scarcity, which affect directly the food and water security, and also the energy security that wasn't mentioned in the introductory session. The different countries in the region recognize the importance of working together when it comes to water diplomacy and transboundary collaboration. In the region, we do have 24 shared aquifer. 1, 2, or more than 2 countries are sharing these 24 transboundary aquifer. There is a lot of initiatives working in the region, mainly recently between Jordan and Syria, in order to update the agreement when it comes to the Yarmouk Basin and Al-Wahda Dam. There is a lot of agreement in the region when it's come to transboundary aquifer, bilateral agreement, trilateral agreement, and but to be honest, these agreements are out of date. And in the region, we do have the concern that these agreements need to be updated, and this is the thing that we are working on, especially in Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon. The other thing in the region, we do have a huge gap between the supply and demand. In different regions, this is related to the increase in population, refugee influx, and also the water scarcity that we are already known. In this sense, a lot of countries now are trying to adopt the unconventional water resources, trying to find alternative resources of fresh water in order to be utilized not only in the agriculture sector, but also in the municipal sector and the industrial sector. I will talk a lot about the Jordan Career Project, but in the next slide, and also the mega project that Egypt is conducting, and the reuse of desalination, especially in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. One of the main thematic area that the Mashriq region is recognized is governance reform. And we are talking about governance, we do not only mean the state and government. We are talking about the 3 triangle that consists of the government, state, market as a private sector, and the community, and the importance of having co-management approach between the 3 entities or the 3 pillars in this good governance approach. Including the private sector is now recognized in the region, especially in Saudi Arabia, especially in Jordan, in Egypt, and United Arab Emirates. Lebanon, they are doing now a good work in adopting their water law, number 192/2020. This is the updated law for the water law, refer to the year 2018. And in that law, they want to enhance the water infrastructure in Lebanon. They want to enhance the pollution control in Lebanon, and also to regulate the responsibility for different entities that are working in Lebanon. Because in Lebanon, there is different entities that manage and organize the water sector. So in that law, they are trying to identify the responsibilities for different entities in a more concrete way. In Egypt, you know better what the situation for water law in Egypt, but now they are doing modernization for the water law in order to enhance the distribution, the administration aspect, and also for irrigation and drainage sector. In Saudi Arabia, recently, in 2024, all the entities that are managing the water resources now is one authority. It is Saudi Arabia Water Authority. It is the authority that is now recognized as the one authority to regulate, monitor, and distribute services for the water along Saudi Arabia. With the enhance of AI worldwide, the Mashriq region is also recognize the importance of utilizing this AI and digital transformation for different sectors, municipal, agriculture, and industrial sector, like utilizing drones for irrigation, real-time monitoring, and national geo database. All of this, we always recognize the importance of collaboration, and I believe it was mentioned in the opening session different time, the collaboration and the policies. These are the thematic areas for the Mashriq region, the work that are now conducted in the Mashriq region. But to be honest, there is several challenges when it's come to achieving this, and these challenges are decreasing the progress of achieving the goals that we are want in the region, starting with the climate change, with the drought, with different flood events, and with a man-made disaster as aquifer depletion. When it comes to transboundary collaboration, there is always challenges related to political instability in the region, and I believe we are all aware about the political instability that we are facing in the region. When it comes to non-conventional water resources, there is always a question of social acceptance, and this is one of the challenges that we are facing in the region, the acceptance of utilizing the treated wastewater for agriculture sector, for example, the acceptance of desalination water, and what is the price will be to the user, to the end user when it's come to desalination water. So these are the challenges that I'm trying to summarize. Financial constraint and also gap in available, accessible, affordable data that can, or equitable data that can be utilized in order to support, for example, the transboundary collaboration. Before doing collaboration in transboundary aquifer, we need adequate data showing the actual, say, field, the actual recharge, the actual discharge of different streams from the upstream to the downstream. This kind of data we are still lacking. We are doing good job in conducting this research, but we are still have a lot to do in that. But even though we mentioned the thematic area and we introduced the challenges that are we facing in adopting and the progress of the initiative are inputting. But to be honest, we are doing good in several projects at a country level. When it's come to Jordan, we do have the National Carrier Project. This project is mainly to decrease the gap between the supply and the demand by desalinating water from south of Jordan, from Aqaba, and send it to the upper part of Jordan and utilize the difference in slope and energy production. We also in Jordan, including the innovation aspect and trying to decrease the gap between the industrial sector, the research, and the academia. In Lebanon, as I mentioned, when it's come to governance, they are updating their laws, trying to not only look about the water quantity, but also the water quality and the pollution control and the regulation and the responsibilities between different entities. In Palestine, there is a lot of challenges related to the occupation, but even though they are updating their national strategies and they are looking also to the wastewater reuse in order to decrease the gap between the supply and demand. In Syria, they also recognize the importance of water resources, especially after the conflict, and how water was utilized in order to control area or weaponizing water. And this is now recognized by Syria, and now they are trying to enhance their water resources through the national strategy and through the national or transboundary collaboration between different countries. In Egypt, there is a mega project when it's come to non-conventional water resources. One of them is Bahr al-Baqqar and the New Delta, where they aim to reuse the water or treat the agriculture water, treat the wastewater coming for agriculture and reuse it again. For Bahr al-Baqqar and the New Delta, there is always initiative in decreasing the non-revenue water, the losses and the infrastructure from 83% to 26%. As I mentioned before also, the GIZ, AI, drone are utilizing for enhancing the water productivity and water use efficiency. In United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, they are two leading countries when it's come to desalination and decreasing the cost of desalination, especially in Saudi Arabia by utilizing circular brine volarization model. At the end of the 2 days, we had a consensus of 5 main priorities for the Mashriq region, and we introduced them to the Committee of One Water project. Starting with governance, institution, we always recognize the importance of the 3 bilateral co-management agreements between the state government, market as a private sector, and community in a co-management approach. The second thing that is important, the implementation of Wi-Fi Nexus. One of the challenges we said that there is fragmentation. Oh, I forget to mention that there is fragmentation in different ministries level. We do have Ministry of Water, Energy, Agriculture, Environment. But when it's come to Wi-Fi, when it's come to integrated approach between these ministries, there is a gap. So this is one of the strategic priority to start working in a Wi-Fi Nexus in a more concrete way. I believe in different countries now there is a Wi-Fi committee. They are starting to develop the 2 developing policies, but still work needs to be done in that aspect. Finance, donor and a project, private sector, and introducing a new model to enhance the financial instrument by introducing the private sector and the banks like green bonding in order to support the green economy. Data and digitalization is one of the priorities that we would like to work on in order to implement smart water irrigation system, not only irrigation system, but smart water system for different sectors in order to enhance water productivity and enhance water use efficiency. The non-conventional water resources is already mentioned, but here I would like to highlight that we want to harmonize the regulation or the standard for the treated wastewater. In EU, I believe there is a standard for the EU country when it's come to treated wastewater, but in the Mashriq region, there is different standards. Sometimes the country itself adopt the standard that's coming from their governmental level, and sometimes they refer to the WHO standard and sometimes to the FAO standard. So one of the recommendation is to have a to have harmonization between the EU and mid-country regulation when it's come to utilize of the treated wastewater, because at the end of the day, the production that are cultivated and harvested in the Mashriq region, to a certain extent, it will be exported to the EU. In order to enhance that exportation, then having harmonization in the standard, it's gonna benefit both regions. Collaboration, we are always talking about the regional collaboration, especially when it's come to transboundary and the Wi-Fi nexus. This is the last slide. I promise I will finish. So here I would like to highlight 5 main projects that are implementing now, but I believe further support is good in order to enhance their sustainability. In Jordan, the involvement of private sector in the national carrier. In Egypt, blended finance for mega reuse plan for non-revenue water digital monitoring, and also in Saudi Arabia, the BOT and the BOT model, in order to reduce the cost for desalination, and at the end of the day, it will decrease the cost for the end user. In Lebanon, Syria, small scale solar pumping and decentralization treatment eligible for climate adaptation goal. Here I will stop. I promise. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Majd. As you can see, these were really very rich and enriching 2 days, so it will be really difficult to present all the outcomes in 10 minutes, but we are doing our very best, especially that you would like to have some moment to hear from you, which is important, because all of these outcomes, somehow they have to feed into what we are preparing into the Euromed Forum in 2026 and beyond, because it's not actually the arrival line, the 2026. It's only a platform to rebond. So having said that, I would like to ask Professor Ali Saleh Al-Sadiq, professor at Libya Open University, who will present and discuss the outcomes from the Maghreb region. Please, floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank the One Water team also the partner of this project. I am Dr. Saleh Sadiq from University of Tripoli, water resource in the Faculty of Engineering. I am here on behalf of my colleagues from Maghreb countries, Mauritania, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Libya. There was a meeting before 2 weeks in Tunisia for 2 days. We have discussed all the priorities, all the challenges. So many points have been discussed, and thank you. As a conclusion, we'll see the presentation. As I understood from the first presentation, most of the challenges, most of the priorities, they are common even in the Mashriq and Maghreb countries. Also in the Maghreb countries, there are so many common points in all the 5 countries. Down, yes. Yes, okay. So we'll start with the first point with the national insights and the regional vision. During the discussion held in Tunisia, all the countries' representatives discussed their strategies, all the country. Then at all, we can see that the strategy and priorities of the water resource in all the 5 countries map and connect Maghreb national strategy and best practice across all the 5 countries, identify shared gaps such as government groundwater depletion, financing shortage, and fragmented governance frameworks and in institutions. Build a unified Maghreb water road map under the One Water project approach. Build a unified Mediterranean water roadmap. This has been as a result of the 3 region discussion held in Maghreb, Mashriq, and Balkan area. This all the outcomes will lead to the Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum and UN Water Conference in 2026. For the overview, Tunisia water diplomacy, we know that Tunisia really it has a good experience and good management for the water resource, depending mainly on the surface water, and even the water supply is mainly from the dam reservoirs. They are also started dealing with the desalination, focuses on the non-conventional water resource expansion, modernization of irrigation, and governance reform. While Libya really is 97% is depending on the groundwater, this is leads to so many problems. Drawdown in most of the cities and most of groundwater basin, we get a drawdown. However, recently we have a groundwater rising problem in one of the city, and this is a special condition. Desalination, wastewater use, and early warning system for the releases. For Morocco, large-scale non-conventional water resource killing, inter-basin transfers, governing reforms, Law 3615, early warning system for draw floods and floating solar for evaporation reduction. For Mauritania, integrated water management and universal access small dams recharge and BBB reforms to achieve the sustainability targets by 2030. For the challenges identified, as I mentioned at the first, there are so many common challenges for all the 5 countries. depending on, sometimes we say it in the management. As example, the institutional, there was a institutional fragmentation, cross ministers and weak coordination, as example in Libya and Mauritania. Data and monitoring gaps, especially on aquifer and non-conventional water resource performance. Finance consideration for desalination and reuse of infrastructure. We know that for infrastructure and desalination will be in need for the finance. The next point, capacity deficits and limited local technical expertise. Climate variability, drought, floods, and decline recharge across Maghreb. For the proven solution and best practice, as we can see here in this slide, for every country, there is a main title and subtitle. As example, for Tunisia, early warning system and governance reforms, and there are 3 subtitles. So for the limited time for this presentation, just I want to mention the main titles. For Morocco, hybrid solution for Renaissance. For Libya, institutional innovation and infrastructure Renaissance. For Mauritania, inclusive water area and triple B reforms. Algeria, emerging reuse of efficiency leadership. As we could notice in this slide, there are some subtitles which give more explanation for the main points. For the strategy priorities, we have 5 pillars for a water secure Mediterranean. Governance and institution, legal reforms based on agencies and participatory models in Tunisia and Morocco. Finance and partnership, triple B models, debt conservation program behind finance and data and digitalization concerning the satellite monitoring and there's other projects, Mirwat in Libya platform, open database for aquifer management. Non-conventional water resource and innovation expansion of desalination will be in need for more desalination, especially we have 2 problems, even about groundwater drawdown and about the surface water due to climate change, especially in the last years. For the regional cooperation, really the Maghreb countries, even before one water project, they have some official authorities for the cooperation for the water resource, and we have a transboundary aquifers. But really, for after starting this project, one water project, the cooperation in the regional level will be increased, as we noticed in the last meeting held in Tunisia. From plans to bankable projects in the Maghreb region, as we know that most of the water resource projects about the construction of the dams, desalination, wastewater plants, the other water resource infrastructure or projects will be in need for the high, investment or triple B's projects. So all the idea have been, or all the priorities which have been concluded or outcomes in this presentation will be in need for the financial support. Really, there are so many opportunities, especially with the EU projects. This is gives good support for evaluation or peer studies to these projects, and will be need for the implementation of these projects. At the final, I would like to thank all the Italian groups or teams, also the partner of this project. Special thanks to the Siam Bari. Really, from recently, we found that Siam Bari is not only for Italy, but we hope that really it's will be for the other countries. Thank you for all of you.
Thank you, Professor. Actually, since always, Siam Bari is the gift of Italy to the world, so do not worry about this. Thank you again. And now we come to the third process that is related to the Balkan countries. And I would like to, I don't see him, but I would like, here you are, to invite Mr. Idris Hayash, Director Administration of Waters and Dams in Albania. So we said that we undertook processes that put together the larger Mediterranean, and these are the Balkan area, the Balkan countries. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Ulla. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to present some findings and conclusions from the recent workshop which took place in Bari, Siham, among the Balkan region's country. We were 6 countries. Where? Come on, you didn't instruct me. Yeah. Oh, okay. So we have been there just to present our strategies, existing strategies, best practices, but also to identify some gaps. And what was the aim? To go to the Euro-Mediterranean conference with linked strategies and to foster cooperation. And I'm sure we have something to bring to this conference. Our dignitaries already confirmed their participation, but also they will come with good proposals to this conference. What is some overviews? You know the Balkan region, Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Kosovo, Montenegro, Northern Macedonia, and Serbia. Where we focused? We focused on water, integrated water resource management, on irrigation, rehabilitation, and reuse of water, on climate adaptation, what the countries are doing for climate adaptation, and to to mitigate this risk. We brought some highlights here, and we appreciate so much Siham Institute for structuring, analyzing, and summarizing those conclusions and outcomes. But if I may say shortly, Albania and Macedonia has already renewed strategic framework and legal framework for water management. There are good examples of investments, especially from Albania on flooding protection. On Kosovo has a national master plan on irrigation, which intend to increase the agriculture surface, water surface, irrigated surface. Serbia is good at climate model-based planning, which already has started to implement. And Macedonia, as I mentioned, it has a strategy, it renewed the law, and it works to align these framework, even strategic, conceptual, or legal, to the EU guidelines and directives. Bosnia is doing well on flooding resilience after the post 2014 flooding, which it was a good lesson learned for this country. I think we all accepted that the Balkan region, it is rich on water, but we have so much deficit on and inefficiency on management. Why? Because we have it for granted. And I think this made us not to be so strict, so careful, so organized in managing it. We need to do a lot on modernization, and especially on interinstitutional cooperation and cross-boundary cooperation. These are some 3 pillars which we have to bridge in order to come up to the satisfied level on managing the water. What are some key challenges I identified on those 2 days? Institutional fragmentation. It was mentioned even by the other speakers before, but we have to see that we have a kind of culture of government organization. And today model of water management is totally different. We had it spread it out in different ministries, and now the problem is how can we go to the best and efficient model of water management? Data and monitoring gaps. If you see the first challenge, it is the source for all the others. Because if we have spread it responsibilities among the institutions, we have the spread it data, we have the spread it statistics, and nobody is leading those processes. So this was the culture of organization of our countries. This was the level of modernization of statistics, of data, of systems, etc., etc. So these were challenges tackled by all our countries in the region. Financing constraints, of course, like everywhere. The water was not priority because we had some other more emergent problems, which we have to focus our capacity deficit. I may say that, and I'm speaking from my personal position now, when it comes to the expertise, we are in emergency situation. Why? Because we have a fracture from the regime changed. The universities has changed the profiles of education. The administration has broke up in somehow, and now we started to just to remind ourselves that we need to focus to the expertise. I have to mention here that CIHAM Institute for maybe 30 years have been one of the main institutions for standardizing, for interoperability between our countries, because we have a huge number of students coming through different courses at different levels in water management, irrigation, and in this one. So we thank you so much for work done. I think some cross-cutting issues, these have to do more with awareness, with governance culture. Underfunding. Okay, we accept that we have underfunded sector. We have very institutional changes, often institutional changes. Why? Trying to build the best model. The first one was not efficient, was not the right one. We changed it. So we have a little awareness as a region on coordinating and implementing SDG 6. And the same thing is for gender issues or for the youth participation. All these things have to be a priority of our government countries. Despite those challenges, I think that the countries brought here some good solutions, some achievements, which, if I may say, that Albania is doing well on a river basin management and irrigation modeling. Why I say so? Because in our country, the rivers were not managed basin-based model, but it was spread it out in a different institution for different responsibilities. Somebody was taking care for nature, somebody for water, somebody for other resources in the region. So now we are going a river basin-based organization, which is a good model, which we know who to call, and we know, and they know what to project, what to propose, what to modernize the management of those rivers. Of course, on irrigation area, we are doing well on modernizing. Why? Because it's a vital for our economy and for our agriculture. Bosnia and Herzegovina, as I said, after 2014 flooding, they did well. They are now very focused on building resilience on flooding and also on aligning with EU acquis. Kosovo, it's a pioneer country on reuse of water. Why? Because it has more water scarcity. And they have some good examples. And in addition, they have a good national plan on irrigation. Montenegro. Montenegro has a good example on river-based planning, including the flood risk management plans. And this is a good sign, in fact, because we went through one or two cases on river basin management plans, which they shared with us because we share the rivers, we share the lakes with Montenegro, and this is a sign of transboundary and neighboring countries' cooperation. In Northern Macedonia, as I mentioned, it renewed legislation and strategic concept, which they brought also to the new implementation plans. They are good on increasing awareness and increasing the public participation on water management. Serbia, it's very advanced on implementing the climate-based model planning. Why? Because it's neighboring with some EU countries, and it had this opportunity to advance on this. If we speak on regional cooperation, I mentioned we share a lot of rivers in between countries. We share a lot of lakes, so we are obliged to cooperate with each other. And we can mention Drini River, Lake of Prespa, Buna River, which is not there. So we have a number of working groups, a number of strategic documents, and a number of projects, in fact. I bring here to attention that even the world institutions, being EU, World Bank, or other financing institutions, they encourage regional projects. And we already know now. And we have to cooperate with each other in order to get support for these projects. Strategic priorities. They are the same as the predecessors, but we speak for different stage and different level of governance. As I said, when it comes to the governance and institutions, the Balkan region is coming from a different government and political system. It's coming from different economic system, and it's seeking now and it's eager to join EU, implementing EU standards, EU guidance in EU criteria. So we are working on this one. And where, concretely, where we are going? River basin-based water management, which is the key. Building the national authority on water management, building the right technical bodies to study, to work, to operationally deal with that. Finance and partnership. We are not so good on using and taking advantage of these instruments, being World Bank, EU instruments, or other financial institutions. And I think every day we are working now and we are learning, we are familiar with their requirements. So I think that this is the priority for us. Data and digitalization. After consolidating organizational model, after consolidating the governance, I think we come up with a digitalization system, because the same single organization owns the systems, owns the data, owns the statistics. So I think it will come as a priority automatically. non-conventional water resource and innovation. I said we were and we are rich on water. We didn't feel the need for non-conventional water resources, but now we are coming up. In the last 2 summers, they were the most dried summers in this century. So we are thinking now, what is the non-conventional water resources? How can we benefit from them and how can we use them? Regional cooperation, I said, one of the among many things, it's water we share between us. And one in common thing is water. So we have to work absolutely with us. We have good examples. I'm not going to tackle all these projects, but they are good examples, worthy enough to show that we are going to bankable projects. I'm stopping here, and we have to it's 4 sharp, so I think we respected the time. Ms. Rula?
Thank you very much. I think that I don't need another time to say that really it was very rich. All the stakeholders enriched us as well. We are not as water expert, but every time we realize that we are missing a lot. So thank you again. We are not ready for the coffee break yet, because before the coffee break and after having heard from the different processes, and you know now that Dr. Mesh said that during the Maastricht process, we had also contribution from the Gulf area, from the GCC, from United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. And so now, before the break, I would like to ask Professor Dawood to make his show, because this is not a presentation. Usually, Dr. Dawood makes a show. So please tell us about your experience in the GCC areas about non-conventional water resource. It is a mirage or it is a reality? Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know why she told me like a show or a player, but anyway. Okay, khalas. Very simple. I know that you become tired, and I will not make it longer because you are waiting for your coffee and your after or break. So it's okay. GCC, it is a special region that they have a special geographic characteristics and special resources. We don't have water. Anyone knows in any Arab countries and in GCC countries that we do have a river, freshwater lake. We are depending only on 3 taps. The first one is still groundwater, however, have been deteriorated dramatically in the last few years. Down. And the next one, which is man-made resources, it is the desalinated water. We are the biggest region in terms of the capacity and the production of desalination. And the third one is the reusing the tertiary or treated wastewater. Groundwater, 90% of our aquifer is non-renewable aquifer system. Whatever abstracted is gone, lost forever. And it will not replenish forever. Unfortunately, I will give you some picture. Sorry. Anyway, a map showing that 90% of GCC aquifer system become deteriorated, and in some areas the drop in the water table is more than 50 meters a year. You can imagine. And the salinity in some groundwater aquifers, it is now 100,000 ppm, 3 times the seawater, because of seawater intrusion and subhan evaporation. So the only other sources is the non-conventional resources or man-made resources. And the first one is desalination. However, the desalination needs energy, needs infrastructure, transmission pipelines, networks to distribute, system to monitor, and meter. Every single phase of this is a very costly phase. I will give you some figures. This is showing the landscape of the water resource in GCC, but I will give you only few figures. 1 cubic meter of desalinated water is costing us on a level of the plant at the cost $0.5. If you add pumping, distribution, main trunk lines, distribution, storage, blah, 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 it jump in some cases to $2. In Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, they are taking water from a plant called Al Jubail. In Al Jubail, we are producing the solution with $0.5, but we are transferring it 370 kilometers away with an elevation or a hidden difference in the pressure 70 meters. It needs at least 3 to 4 stations of pumping. It reaches Riyadh with $2.5, 11 Riyal Saudi. So you can imagine the cost. Moreover, every 1 cubic meter of desalination, because we are using either thermal technology or reverse osmosis technology. Unfortunately, in GCC countries, we still rely on thermal technology. Why? However, we are looking to decouple it in the future because we don't have energy to use RO. RO is needing an electrical energy. And the thermal energy for us is cogeneration systems that I'm producing first energy, and then the water is a byproduct. It's not the main product. So I have to use thermal energy. So 70% of our desalination plants is thermal technology. 1 cubic meter from the thermal technology, however, I even shifted from crude oil to natural gas, producing between 1.7 kilogram of carbon dioxide equivalent to more than 7 kilogram of carbon dioxide equivalent, according to the efficiency. So we are targeting to decouple thermal to RO. But RO will need energy, so we have to diversify our energy sources to use atomic energy or nuclear safe energy, solar energy, wind energy, whatever. So this is also part from the vision of GCC to decouple. Because if I decouple, I can achieve 4 targets. The first one is to improve the efficiency of the thermal or from thermal to RO. Because thermal technology efficiency is 25% and the maximum is 30%. But if I shift it to RO, I can achieve 60% sometimes. Second, I will minimize the capital cost. Do you know for each cubic meter of desalination how much I have to invest? In thermal technology, between $1,200 up to $1,600 per cubic meter, just for building the infrastructure. If I shift it to RO, I can reduce this to be between 900 to 1,200 with an average of 1,000. So it is about 60% saving in the cost and about 80% saving in the carbon footprint. But still it's costly, even to use it for agriculture, for food production. It could be affordable for domestic, but even in the domestic, it is heavily subsidized. Do you know what will be the tariff for cubic meter of desalinated water in GCC? It ranges between $0.3 to $0.4. And how much, however, it costs about $2. So it's about 70% heavily subsidized. The second source is the treated wastewater. And unfortunately, we have a very limited amount of treated wastewater because it depending or it's interlinked to the population growth, and the population growth is very slow in GCC countries. However, it's the most grow percentage globally, but still it's not that much. And about 60% of the tertiary treated, most of the treated wastewater in GCC is tertiary treated. So we are using about something like 60%, and still remaining about 40% are discharging back to environment. Some countries like UAE, I will give you an example here from UAE. I'm sorry, I couldn't see here. I bought a map for that. But in Abu Dhabi Emirate, we started to put a goal. We bought it. I'm sure it exists even in Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Kuwait. We called it zero discharge of treated wastewater to environment. And we should reach this by 2028 in Abu Dhabi. Saudi Arabia, we are targeting 2023. sorry, 2030. This zero goal need a lot of investment. One of the biggest challenges to reuse treated wastewater is not the tertiary, is not the capital cost or the infrastructure cost. It is the distribution cost. Because most of the treatment plants are exist nearing the demand centers, sorry, nearing the urban areas or the mega cities, and the demand center is far away. So the 40% are using for landscaping, amenity plantation within the urban areas, but the 60% remaining need to be pumped at least hundreds of kilometers away. And this is costing a lot of money. I will give you 2 examples. I will not be too long. The first example from Abu Dhabi, when we would like to pump or to use about 340 million cubic meter a day, sorry, a year in Abu Dhabi. We have to build 2 mega projects, one for about 35 kilometers and one for 70 kilometers. The one for 70 kilometers to Al Ain with an elevation of about 60 meters. It cost us 731 million Emirati dirham. 3.675 Emirati dirham equal to $1. So we're speaking about $2 million to pump 250,000 cubic meter for 2,000 farms. You can imagine how much is this is the capital cost only. For Dubai route, because we are going with the gradient of the land or the topography, nature topography, so it's mostly no need for pumping. It cost us 35 kilometers of 1,002 millimeter diameter pipeline. It cost us 270 million Emirati dirham. You here can imagine. So what will be the future? How the technology can help us to improve? And the answer is, I have to balance, because in the water resources, we have 2 balances, supply and demand. And unfortunately, for the last 20 years, all the strategies in GCC countries, if it's not in all Arab region and MENA region or whatever, we are speaking about supply-driven strategy. Recently, we started to have also demand-side management-driven strategies. So we are looking now to improve the side. How I can do that? I have to improve to use innovative technology in desalination. Is this available? No and yes. There is some emerging technology that can help me to provide or to improve the cost and the energy consumption in desalination, like graphene membrane technology, like forward osmosis, but still it is not proven commercially. The other side also is to improve the treatment up to a good quality that can be utilized in farming and utilizing the treated wastewater. And this is one side. Sometimes in some GCC countries, they start to explore what we call the deep aquifer system, but it has been proven that it's saline. In some cases, it's 6,000 salinity. So the other side, which is most promising, is the demand side management. To improve the water use, agriculture is using in GCC countries about 78%. And the contribution in GDP is less than 1%. You can imagine. We are importing 85% of our food. The self-satisfactory ratio is less than 12%, 13%, 15% as a maximum. So how I can use innovative technology, improve the irrigation, improve the losses, using hydroponics, using aeroponics. Do we have successful study? Yes. We started to investment from, we have a fund, we called it Khalifa Fund, with the name of His Highness Sheikh Khalifa Allah Yarhamu, the president of UAE, the late president of UAE. And we started to investment in this fund to support the users of the water to use innovative technology for improving the agricultural production. And instead of using 1 cubic meter of water to produce 5 kilograms of tomato, with hydroponic, aeroponic, shade houses, greenhouses, I can improve this at least to 17 or 18. And with a new innovative technology, and we have a joint venture now with Wageningen University in Holland and in Australia and also in New Zealand, to improve this technology and to reach 30 and 35 kilograms. Do we can improve it more? Yes. And one of the most challenging also the discharge of treated wastewater to the environment. So we started a plan now in whole GCC to use the aquifer recharge to recharge the groundwater with tertiary treated wastewater in areas that we don't have a direct use demand centers. And we started a pilot project in Abu Dhabi with 50,000 cubic meter a day. We started the pilot project in Al Kharg in Saudi Arabia with 100,000 cubic meter a day. We started the administration pilot project in Qatar. We started the administration pilot project with Qatar in Kuwait. So there is a lot of using AI, using the central database. We developed recently the first advanced hydrogeological mapping showing all the hydrogeological aquifers, the mapping, the storage, and the lifetime for all storage in Abu Dhabi. And now Oman, they are doing the same. Saudi, they are doing the same. So the future, we have challenges, yes. Rapid population, increasing demand, very low self-sufficiency food. But all this challenge can be converted to opportunities. And this is what we are looking for. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dawood. So did you understand why it is Dr. Dawood show? So thank you very much, Dr. Dawood. So finally, the treatment is not the solution for all the problems. This is what usually everybody thinks. Coming from this very rich experience, it's always the same. So there is no one solution. There is an integration of solutions, of challenges and opportunities. I would like just to give you 15 minutes to grab a coffee, have something to eat, but please don't open the door and go outside, because immediately after your 15 minutes break, we will have just 10 minutes of wrap up, and after the floor will be yours. Thank you. I'm supposed to know you. Where did
Actually, we have three of them.
نعم تقدر تعرف حظك.
I share
نعم.
2 years ago, the music got you. Can you not share some others?
Opportunity للشغل. Now he's doing okay. أنا now he had his dream. هذا المدير right time jump بس experience for experience لما بعده adventure experience all the time. It's doing well هلا very well الحمد لله الحمد لله. Let's go.
How many are
Three. I used to know two, now I know the difference. Okay. Okay. May I kindly ask you to be back to your seats, please? Kindly ask you to be back to your seats. Would you please be back to your seats? We would like to finish on time, so please be back to your seats. Can I kindly ask you to close the door? Because we would like to restart. Please be back to your seats. Rania? Rania Suleiman. Rania? Can you come and bring everybody to their seats, please? Thank you. Kindly be back to your seats. We have to restart. Dr. Amal Azab, would you please? أنا بدي أعطيك لا بدي أعطيك الكلام عادي. Okay. Please, we are about to restart. Please close the door and be back to your seats. Sì, tutto avvelenato. Okay, please. Please, we would like to restart the session. Can we be quiet a little bit? Because I would like to give the floor to Dr. Amal Azab from the Arab Water Council. And before giving her the floor, I would like really to thank all the Arab Water Council personnel, because without them, all of this wouldn't have been possible. To thank you to all of you and for this wonderful collaboration. Thank you. Now I would like to give the floor to Dr. Amal Azab from the Arab Water Council to wrap up in a regional perspective all the findings from the 3 different processes. Amal.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Can we have the presentation, please?
Please, I kindly ask you to stop talking and close the door. The speaker is on and would like to restart. Thank you.
Thank you, Rola. Thank you. Kindly, can we put the presentation on, please? Thank you. Okay, thanks a lot. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor and pleasure to represent the Arab Water Council to present to you the converging challenges and strategic priorities across the larger Mediterranean as a converging result of what we have been exploring for the last month, the different regional dialogues that we had with our partners and with our sister countries in the region and other sub-regions of the Mediterranean. So actually the main goal of the One Water project is to converge and to bring the different sub-regions together so we can have a common voice during the Euro-Mediterranean Forum. And before I start, I would like to thank all the partners who joined us in the regional workshops that you heard about the results, for their commitment and the inputs, because without the inputs of the regional partners, we wouldn't reach today to conclude and to converge to have a unified vision. Just to go ahead very quickly. Okay. Yeah, this one. Yeah. Okay. A shared Mediterranean reality. This is the starting point of our presentation. And here we are trying to mention that the Mediterranean region is facing a convergence of water challenges across the 3 sub-regions that we have been discussing together, the Maghreb region, the Mashriq, and also the Balkans, South Europe. And in our Mediterranean region, we are witnessing severe water scarcity. And in some sub-regions, we have abundance of water, but we need wise management of this water. We also have the fragmented governance systems, which we have been hearing about from the different sub-regions, distinguished representatives who presented before us. And also the infrastructure gaps and the data fragmentation, which also needs a lot of work to be done jointly in the different regions. The weak financial sustainability and the need for mobilizing funds from the different funding donors and the different funding programs, and also the rising energy, water, food ecosystems nexus trade-offs. So these are part of the reality that we face in the Med region. And this convergence underscores the urgent need for a unified strategic vision. And this is the reason we are here today, to present to you what we have been witnessing as sub-regions and how we can talk as a unified Med region. As we mentioned in the morning, we had 3 dialogues in the different countries, Amman, Jordan, and also Bari, Italy, Tunis, and all of these workshops were back-to-back because we wanted actually to make good use of the momentum. And actually all the countries, especially in Amman and Tunis, and of course Bari, our main partner, Siam Bari, were very anxious to support the One Water project and to be part of our discussions and dialogues, to give their inputs so we can really move forward with the One Water project and prepare for the Euromed next year, 2026. That was the key item. And today, this is the wrap-up and unified vision session where we are going to show you how we try to shape the unified vision of the different Med regions. We heard about many challenges, and we started in every regional dialogue with the challenges, but we decided that we won't leave the rooms where we were discussing unless we talk about solutions and we talk about priorities that we would like to have implemented in our region. And this is the main target of the One Water. We are not only talking about the challenges, but we want to have the solutions. We want to create projects in our region that can support solving the water problems that you are facing. So the different challenges that have been discussed can converge into this set of challenges: water scarcity, of course, and the climate extremes. And I add here also the water abundance, because it was one of the discussions when we were with the Balkan partners. Also the fragmented institutions and the policy overlap, we heard about this, the financing and cost recovery gaps, and the data fragmentation and the digital divided systems, the weak implementation of the existing strategies in the different countries on the national level, but also on the regional level, and also the limited inclusion of the women, youth, and communities. These were some of the key converging challenges across the different sub-regions. Then we have been trying to find the link between the key challenges and how to develop the strategic priorities for cooperation. So the outcomes from the different regional dialogues were focusing very much on the priorities. What are the different sub-region priorities, and how we can make use of these priorities to develop common vision for the sub-regions. With the Mashriq region, you heard about what they have been discussing, but very briefly, water scarcity is one of the key problems, climate stress, also aging infrastructure and the need for maintenance and renovation of the infrastructures. Institutional fragmentation, again, was key. And of course, the limited access to innovation and climate-aligned finance. And from these challenges, we reached a lot of, let's say, hope priorities for cooperation, were discussed a lot about the non-conventional water resources and the diversity of water resources. That was a key, and you've heard a lot about it this morning. The digital transformation was a key topic that have been addressed, and we had many examples from the regions, and they were keen that we have to move to the future with this topic. It's an important topic for the region. Also, the governance, I will not talk anymore about it, it has been tackled. But again, the financing and the public-private partnerships and how to develop a bankable project, that was a key issue. Climate adaptation, integration, and regional cooperation and harmonization between the different countries, especially the countries who have transboundary water resources. That was a topic discussed, and actually it was discussed in the 3 regions, and it is one of the key topics for the regions. Then moving to the Balkan region, the second regional dialogue that we had. We have also acute water scarcity, but again, abundance. Some of the countries in the Balkan, they face droughts, and I think you already heard this, and also the same topics that were raised in the Mashriq. Sorry, I'm sorry, this is, that were raised in the Mashriq was raised also in the Balkan. And when we talk about the priorities, we have discussed many priorities in the Balkan region. The important one of them is the strengthening of the governance and coordination to cope with the institutional fragmentation that is happening, but also the modernization of the agriculture, water management, and the irrigation systems. Also, the enhancement of technology, enhancement of transboundary collaboration, and the mobilization of financing for resilience. Also, one of the main priorities that were presented during the meeting is the mainstreaming of the climate adaptation and nature-based solutions. I think climate adaptation was an important topic during our discussions with the Balkan countries, and I'm sure you heard about it also in the last session from the distinguished representative. And then the Maghreb region was our last stop in the journey with the different sub-regions. We were in Tunisia, and actually in Tunisia, we discussed a lot also about the challenges, and you will see that most of the challenges are similar between the regions. Also, the water scarcity, the over-abstraction of aquifers, because of course the Maghreb region groundwater is one of the key non-conventional water resources used and overused, actually, over-abstraction. The aging of the infrastructure, the dams, we had a lot of discussion about the infrastructure. The fragmented governance, again, comes here, and the insufficient investments, frameworks, and weak access to climate finance. And from these challenges, we reached priorities that we need to achieve in the Maghreb region. One of them, of course, is the access of funding and diversified funding mechanisms. And funding actually is a key word that will take us to the future in the Mediterranean region to implement projects to solve the water problems that faces the different regions. Again, the regional early warning systems and a Maghreb early warning center was one of the priorities raised during the discussion. A center of excellence for the regional capacity development. We talked a lot about capacity development, and that was a key priority during the discussion with the Maghreb region countries. Climate change adaptation for shortage and excess management. And then the water and food security via sustainable management. And the governance, again, comes as a priority. All right, then you saw this slide in all the presentations of the three regions. I just bring it here again because we are building on these 5 pillars that were presented from the different sub-regions. So again, we are talking and focusing on the governance, finance, data and digitalization, non-conventional water resources, and regional cooperation on the WIFIN access. So the priorities, if we group them to have a unified Mediterranean vision, we think that scaling non-conventional water resources is a key priority for all the sub-regions. And actually, most of the countries are taking this very seriously. And we saw what is happening with the UAE. We also had a discussion with Saudi Arabia, and they presented their experience in the desalination and using of the non-conventional water resources, the treated wastewater. So this is on the top of priorities of most of the countries. Driving the digital transformation and innovation was also one of the main unifying priorities for our MED vision, and also strengthening the governance and capacity, as we mentioned, unlocking climate and blended finance. And finance is very important if you would like to achieve a future Mediterranean with limited problems related to water. So this is a key issue. Building regional resilience system and fostering inclusiveness and nature-based solutions. Nature-based solutions was discussed also explicitly in the three regions, and most of the countries are adopting nature-based solutions as part of the WIFI approach, and we had seen a lot of examples when we discussed. So nature-based solutions is also important. This is, I think, our final slide concluding everything that we can share together as a unified region. Water is the connective tissue linking the Mediterranean economies. We talk about water because water is the life of the Mediterranean countries. Investments must follow integration, not isolation. So investments should also lead should happen through bankable projects, and mobilizing regional and international funds is a very important priority. And here, this is very much related in developing the capacities of the different countries to develop the bankable projects, because developing bankable projects to be submitted to the international funding mechanisms is an important issue. We take the example of the GCF, we take the example of the EU and other funding agencies. This is very important. The capacity of the institutions in the countries is a key issue. The digital and nature-based solutions are central to adaptation in the MED region. Youth, women, and communities are the change multipliers, and we should focus on their inclusion. And from the regional dialogues to one shared vision, we see that the Mediterranean water voices united toward the Euromed 2026 for the global impact is a key if you want to go to the next Euromed as strong sub-regions. Our unified voices are very important. So thank you so much. I will stop here. That was the concluding remarks.
Thank you very much, Amal. I just would like to add that these are not our elaborations. So whatever priorities, solutions, and strategies you may see here, these were selected, discussed, first of all, and after selected by the stakeholders themselves. This is only a reporting of the results. So this is what the countries selected as priorities and challenges and solutions. Again, thank you very much, Amal. And now I would like to give the floor to the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation. I kindly call Mr. Paolo Sertoli. to talk about the Italian cooperation's response to regional water security needs. And I kindly ask also Mr. Tiberio Chiari, who is the head of the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation Office in Cairo. So please, the floor is first given to Paolo and after to Tiberio. Please join us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. His Excellency Mahmoud Abu Zaid, President of the Arab Water Council, Mr. Walid Akiki, Chairman of Cairo Water Week, Mr. Marco Rago, Vice President of One Water Committee, Mr. Biagio di Terlizzi, Director of Siambari, Mr. Emilio Ciarlo, Director General of One Water Committee, Mr. Grammenos Mastroianni, Deputy Secretary General for Energy and Climate Action at the Union for the Mediterranean, distinguished representative from the government of the Mediterranean area, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor as Italian Agency for Development Cooperation to participate to this session after participating to the 3 regional meetings held in Bari, Amman, and Tunis in the framework of the One Water Project Mediterranean Initiative funded by the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation aimed at advancing sustainable water management across the Mediterranean region in view of the 2026 Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum. Let me first acknowledge and thank the One Water Committee, namely Mr. Marco Rago and Mr. Emilio Ciarlo, for involving the Italian Development Cooperation and the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation into this important session, focusing on the importance of the integrated water resource management to water access and security. I also thank the Italian Embassy in El Cairo and my colleague Tiberio Chiari and all the office of the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation in El Cairo. The Italian Agency for Development participation to the regional meetings organized by the One Water Committee was extremely relevant and useful. The feedback from our regional offices participating in the meetings were very positive. During the meetings involving stakeholders from the Balkans, from the Maghreb and the Mashrek region, discussing on several topics have been held, among others, sustainable water resource management, optimizing water resource in agriculture, water risk prevention and management, wash and water governance. All these themes are particularly relevant for the Italian Development Cooperation and the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation. In the framework of the regional meetings, apart from technical sessions, the representative from the involved countries had the opportunity to present their national strategies and priority. We take this opportunity to congratulate once again the One Water Committee for the organization of this meeting. The meeting highlighted, indeed, the acute water scarcity within the area and the challenges within the Mediterranean area, driven by, among others, climate change, increasing scarcity, and mounting pressure on fragile ecosystems. These challenges demand integrated transboundary solutions that combine inclusive stakeholder engagement, knowledge exchange, and policies. Ensuring water security in the Mediterranean requires strong collaboration among the country. Water and infrastructure are, especially in Africa and sub-Saharan Africa, one of the pillars of the so-called Mattei Plan for Africa, which have been presented in the framework of the Italy-Africa Conference held in Rome from January 29 to January 30. The plan, with a total budget of 5.5 billion euros, is meant to be focused on 3 main pillars in order to tackle the inequalities and low development of LDCs countries in Africa. I talk about agribusiness, I talk about technical and vocational training, and of course, water and infrastructures. Water cooperation is indeed a priority for the Italian System for Development Cooperation and the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation, with almost 480 million euros invested in activities related to water management worldwide in support to partners countries. In 2015, thanks to the collaboration of the Siam Bari, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Director General for Development Cooperation issued the so-called guidelines for Italian development cooperation on the topic of water. The main objective of the guidelines being to summarize the activities, but also giving some insight on concrete action. In 2025, so recently, our agency produced the WASH guidelines as a set of methodological and technical rules to project WASH intervention. Italy's strategic approach to water cooperation is thus shaped around three main features: geographical scalability, cross-sectoral approach, and openness and inclusivity. As example of project in the Mediterranean area, where this strategic approach is translated into the actual implementation of initiatives funded by the Italian Development Cooperation, we could name several initiatives. One of them will be presented later by my colleague Tiberio Chiari, is in Egypt. Another one is on the Palestinian territories, and it's very much focused on the construction of this desalination plant in Gaza. Another important intervention in Albania that is aimed to support the agriculture organization in collaboration with the Consorzio di Bonifica per il Canale Emiliano-Romagnolo, which is a land reclamation authority of Italy. We have another initiative in Tunisia, which have been named by the colleagues from Siam Bari, called TANIT, which is another major initiative that will be funded also in the framework of the Mattei Plan. We have another important initiative in Tunisia called ADAPT, 70 million euros. Another very important initiative, always in Tunisia, with 23 million euros. And in Lebanon, we are working in wastewater treatment plant for another intervention of 26 million euros. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Italian System for Development Cooperation is actively participating and supporting in both knowledge building and financial terms to water-related international agendas. So we collaborate for the G7 Water Coalition, for UN Convention on Protection of the Use of Transboundary Water. We also collaborate to UNESCO with particular reference to the World Water Assessment Program. We also collaborate in the framework of the Water Scarcity in Agriculture platform hosted by FAO. With the view of further strengthening its systematic coordinated water cooperation, in 2026, Italy will organize and host two main events, which have been presented today and will be presented also later on. In March, the second ministerial meeting on water of the Union for the Mediterranean that will be held in Rome, and during the autumn in the city of Rome, the first Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum. The forum will bring together 43 European, Balkan, and Mediterranean countries, as well as relevant European Union institutions and organizations. The Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum will also represent an opportunity to strengthen water collaboration and cooperation among the Mediterranean area. The Italian System for Development Cooperation stands at the forefront of this common effort and will continue to put its best efforts toward improving our action in the field. With the hope to see all of you in Rome in October 2026, I thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.
Okay. So Tiberio Chiari is the director of the Italian agency in El Cairo. I think he'll present one specific project.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody. And really, it's a big honor to be here. And I'm very, very glad for all I have been listening till now. It's really a big amount of knowledge competencies, capacity spread all over the region. And when I speak about region, I speak about the Mediterranean region. And I would like just to introduce very, very few points on what we are doing here in Egypt. Can I have the presentation? Okay. Just few slides just to introduce my words. It is self-explanatory, and well, there is a ideal image of what is going to be when we have a nice future with water. It's a postcard, it's a dream, what is going to be, and it is related to strengthening partnership. I think this is the key. It is exactly the key. But to have a dream, we need hard work. It's not just a matter of fact to have this ideal word. So we have very, very nice words we can use on, but I would like to say that to have a hard work, it needs hard competencies. And I would like to thank the capacity, the willingness, the really capacity of the Ministry of Water here in Egypt, his technical body, the National Water Research Center is our key partners. And I would say we are the servant of this strong institution of Egypt, really an asset of this country. I would like to thank, in this specific case, the funding from you and other actors. They are working with us, and some implementing body. I don't want to, I hope you can see them. You cannot see them. So we have the National Water Research Center, ARC, Agricultural Research Center, and we have other CM, Alliance for Biodiversity and SIAT, FAO, UNIDO, we are working with in different parts of the countries. I don't want to go into detail in funding money, activities. We are already boring about the long list of activity. I will go simply to one action that we are doing related and inserting in one activity, in one project from funding from you. It is ZIRA, is a project developing the agriculture in 3 governorates in Sousse, Sohag, and Beni Suef. And specifically, I'm speaking about the component of irrigation. It's a huge component within this project. Is around 9 million euros, 9 million and something. And of course, we have the infrastructure development, so the channel, the big channel, the secondary channel, providing technical advice. And this is done with a strong effort by the National, as I say, National Water Research Center. But I would like to focus on what is in the lower side, the Water User Association. Okay. Why we're dealing with this? Many times we speak about infrastructure. We speak about delivery of procurement, delivery of goods, delivery of everything, but we don't speak about the soft power and the people who are going to use this infrastructure. So very, very important. We simply define them as the beneficiary. I don't think they are beneficiary. They are the one who change the world. They are the ones who manage the territory. They are the ones who manage the people themselves, but also the entire community in one country. So when we speak about the Water User Association, we are speaking about that key element who enable what we are delivering around them, so the framework to be effective, to produce results, to change the world. So I don't want to go into details about what we have already described in the word, but the role of them is also related to conflict resolution, to empower the communities, to deliver product, to increase the wealth of the community. So really this is one key element, and for me and for us dealing with development is what makes the difference in all our efforts. Sorry, I'm going to be in philosophy, but When we speak about change, we speak about the people. So thank you for your attention. At your disposal for any question. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiberio, where we are in the final session of our long day, long afternoon. We are gonna present you briefly the Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum. I asked to Alain Messonnier to reach me here at the desk. I'll say just a few words just to, explain what the World Water Forum, the Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum will be in Rome in 2026. If I can have my presentation on the screen. Waiting for the presentation, I want to underline that the forum will be an open platform where thoughts, outcome, and ideas, but this is the presentation of Alain Messonnier. You have a blue slide with our claim and the image of Rome. Anyway, it's very important to understand the exactly this one. The Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum in Rome at the end of September 2026, at the beginning of October, will be an open platform where ideas, thoughts, and different solutions gather together and meet together. So the forum ideally is complementary to the Cairo Water Week, to the Istanbul Forum, and our efforts will be also to involve the European countries. So in Rome, we hope to have all these different processes and all these different communities, water communities, gathering and meeting together. Where I have to point this one. Okay. I'll be really short. Our goal is to work for the Mediterranean water security by 2050. What water security means is to combat and deal with water scarcity, with water excess. That means water-related risks, with water quality, and to increase the access to water. We are trying to define some specific words. One word is hope, because we know that we have the solutions and we have the we want to have the political commitment to overcome these challenges. We are better equipped than in the past to change and to have the Mediterranean water security by 2050. So we are not pessimistic. We want to give hope and trust in our commitments and trust in our possibilities. Future is another word, very important word. And one word, as you can imagine, means that the quality of water is very important, because one water resonates from one health, which means to have this approach. The health is not just a human health, but human, animal, and environmental health is something, is a nexus that you have to safeguard. I just want to have the okay. So we will choose 5 or 6 themes, thematics. We are discussing about it because we have our kickoff meeting in Barcelona, the 5th and 6th of November, in the headquarters of Union for Mediterranean. There we start to discuss the thematics, the issues, the themes. We will have 5 or 6 themes. Then we will have, I think, 3 focus. This is my proposal. But then Alain will talk about the conclusions and recommendations from the previous fora and how we are trying to understand the better way to put ahead the main issues. Anyway, we will have different thematics and then 3 tracks. I would say the European track, because we want to involve European Union. And so even with Water Europe, we have a partnership with Water Europe, and we want to understand how to have them on board to involve also not only the Balkan countries, but also the other European countries. We will have, I think, something like an arid country track. Maybe I hope the Arab Water Council will be again our partner, obviously, and then we will have an urban track. I know that Alain is very sensitive to the issue of cities and the urban and local governments. Maybe we will have the possibility to host also the International Network of Basin Organization event in our forum. We will have different organizations that are asking us to be hosted by the forum. One is IMBO, the International Network for Basin Organization. Another is the Global Water Partnership. But we have also the possibility to host in the first days of the forum the water festival, Italian Water Festival. That is a very important and annual meeting that we will have, and we will have in the Euro-Mediterranean Forum. It's very important. I think Helen will say it, but we are very focused on 2 things. One is the finance. I mean, the water finance, the public and private finance with new tools, new financial tools, like carbon credit, water credit, and the role of insurance companies in the water risk related management, private finance, but also public finance, with the use of public funds and the use also of debt swap, for example. Another issue that I know that Alain is very agree with me is the sea. How to connect groundwater and freshwater to the sea and blue economy, and in general, generally speaking, how the sea is a dimension that we have to consider when we talk about water. With the forum, we will have an expo, a big expo, because we want the companies and private sector to be involved in, and to have investment from the private sector. And then we'll try to have some entertainment programs, art, music, theater, and water. It's very important to have also a pop dimension, a popular dimension, and to convey these messages also through these channels like art and music and so on. Also, or even because music, for example, I'm a passionate musician. Music links all the countries around the Mediterranean with the same sounds and same rhythms. So I think, and I hope that the Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum will be a big event in all this sense. And I give the floor to Alain Meissonier, who will complement my intervention with the traditions and thoughts and recommendations and everything from the Mediterranean Water Forum.
Well, thank you, Emilio. Thank you for your confidence. Thank you to invite us to participate to this very nice event. You can be proud of what you have done in only 3 months. We just show that with the people from SIAM, from Arab Water Council, that have done this very, very nice job, and it's not finished. This is the beginning. So well, you have the, okay, thank you. So first of all, let me see, it's working. Oh, this one, okay. Okay, just to remind what is the Mediterranean Water Institute. It was created in 1982, so we are in a good age now, 43 years. And so it's mixed ministries and local authorities in charge of water with public and private operators and water companies and independent expert in the management of water. We have representation in all over in the Mediterranean. And so for this Twist College, we are a think tank looking at the future of water. First of all, what are the 4 main challenges for for IME? First, know and protect the natural resource and ecosystem. Don't forget, when you speak about WEFE, don't forget the last E, which is the most important of all of them. So the protection of natural resource, first we have to know them, know the natural resources to protect. And if we want to have a nature-based solution, we have to protect the nature and we have to protect natural resource. The second is sobriety in using water. And thank you to have spoke about the user, because this is the most important task we have to face for tomorrow, is the use of water. We know all the solutions, about technical solutions, about legal solutions, about financial solutions, but we have to look at the use of water. The use in agriculture, the use for industry, the use in urban, the use in tourism, the use for maintaining the protection of the natural resources. This is the base of our thinking, of our objective, of our next forum. The sobriety. Third is the robustness and efficiency of the existing systems. This is also very important. This morning, in the meeting with the UFM about financement, the person representing Netherlands talked about a very old experience of bond for water. In the year 1640, still available today. That means that the person that get this bond receive money every year now. So the robustness of the infrastructure is very important. Here, for example, you have a picture of the aqueduct of Marseille in the south of France, built in the 19th century. And today represent more than 80% of all the metropole of Marseille in resource of water. So the robustness is very important. So the maintenance, etc., and the training of the people that doing this. So renewing repair leaks, renewing network systematically, not for 2 or 3 years, for life, forever. So every year you have to do this job, and for electromechanical also. And the fourth challenge is to develop a water mixed or mixed hydric with a contribution of non-conventional water resources, as we have seen during all the session today. The necessity to know the water resources. For example, the underground river of the reuse and the desalination, basically. So we organize as IME and a partner like UFM, in partnership with UFM, every 3 years, the Mediterranean Water Forum. And the first one was in Marrakesh, and then in Murcia, then in Cairo. And remember, the third one in Cairo was the birth of the Cairo Water Week in 2018. And then in La Valette in Malta, and in Tunis last year, and the next one in Rome. And the next one is will be open, excuse me, thank you, will be open to Europe, as Emilio said, First, because it's in Rome, which is a big capital of Europe, because we are almost at the anniversary of the Traité de Rome, which is also very important, and also because even in Tunis, the forum in Tunis was co-financed by Germany, by Sweden, by Italy, and by France also. So it's a good opportunity to open our Mediterranean Forum to Europe. So rapidly, I will present to you the key messages from Tunis to Bali, because we were in charge of the Mediterranean process for the Worldwide Forum in Bali. So the first message was about the subject of disaster risk reduction and management, drought and flow prevention and management. The most important was to see the possibility to implement in each region of Mediterranean modern tools for knowledge and forecasting for the impact of climate change on water management. And as you will see, a concrete proposition later. The second message was about governance, cooperation, and hydro-diplomacy, regulation, right to right, or conflict prevention and resolution. The idea was to bring from the experience of transnational, transboundary discussion on the same country between the region. There is sometimes a lot of difficulty between the region in the same country, in Spain, in France, etc., and also in the conflict of views in the same region. So all this experience of hydro-diplomacy is not only at the transboundary problem, to resolve transboundary problem, but also to resolve the problem of conflict of views. The third one was about knowledge and innovation, about the digitalization and new solution for rational resource users. Focus on the users. Basically, we have to reduce our users. We have to be more to develop the sobriety for a long term. The fourth message was a political one, because we organized in Marseille 1 month before the World Water Forum a meeting with different collectivities, different cities around the Mediterranean, local authorities, to make the declaration of Marseille. This is a vision of local authorities, of the decision makers, politicians, about the future of water for the local authorities. And we will have the chance this next year to have in Italy, in Rome, in March, the declaration, ministerial declaration of 43 countries. That will be the first time in the history after the first tentative in Malta in 2017. So now it's a very concrete objective with about this ministerial declaration. And concrete outputs, creation of a worldwide observatory and non-conventional water resources and renewable energy associate. This idea is an idea from the World Water Council, and the Mediterranean Water Institute was in charge of developing the first studies about this. And now we are in the level that the idea is to create a center of excellence in the Mediterranean to follow what's happening in this matter. The second one is the adoption of the use of the needs according to available water mix capacity with long-term planning. And also, for example, concrete action is to transform a sewage public service to a resource service. Through sewage, you can produce water with the reuse. You can produce energy with the sludge. We can produce fertilizer, and we can also follow the health through for example, during the COVID, we will develop techniques to follow the development of the COVID through the sanitation systems. The third one is to develop early warning for Mediterranean, and this project is in function in different countries. in Jordan, in Morocco, of course, in Spain, in Italy. And so this is an European project, EW format. And the fourth one is to promote for the water finance coalition in each region of the world to face the SDG 6 and boost the blended finance thanks to the awareness of the water risk by large water consumer. And we come back to the consumer. The consumer, the big consumer in the world, are aware now about the water risk, and they are working in reducing their consumption every year. Example, Michelin Tire Corporation. By 2030, 2/3 of the consumption, 2/3 of the consumption reducing. So that represents a lot of investment. Well, so this is the presentation that for the kickoff. The kickoff of the 6th Mediterranean Water Forum, the Euro-Mediterranean Forum, Rome 2006, will be held in Barcelona, just following the platform of water for UFM, preparing the declaration, ministerial declaration. So the 6th and the 7th of next November. And you are all, of course, welcome. And so we have pre-elaborate some main thematics that we propose to the forum and pre-identify some partners. And so, for example, we want to follow what we have done during the 5th Mediterranean Water Forum, because it's important to follow the same action and to see what's happening between 2 or 3 years differences. So first of all, drought and flood early warning program for Mediterranean, to follow this and to see what's happening in the different countries that adapted this new technology. The WEF Nexus, we have speak a lot of this, and we will have as a partner the CWW2025 that work a lot on this with UFM, on the finance for water, new perspectives. So we have to be, there is no problem of finance. There is a problem of presentation of project, on the durability of the project, of the robustness of the project. And so this is important to see all this aspect also. Very important for the value of water, we propose to work on the water footprint versus the water risk. What is my water footprint as a city, as an industry, as an agriculture? And so, and to see what are my risk of water, risk of inundation, of flow, risk of lack of water, risk of conflict of use between the different sectors. Right to water, conflict prevention and water diplomacy. We want to follow with maybe a partner which is Blue Peace Middle East, well known here in this region, in developing a lot of experience. Digital and IA, for water, with maybe with Prima, which is an EU organization financing the innovation and research in water, energy, and food in the Mediterranean. Safeguard, and we propose to, this is the 6th one of the 6 that you speak about, Emilio, the 6 main session, main subject, and we also propose other as a special session. We have to discuss about that. This is this thematic, and you will see there is others after that. So safeguarding water quality in inland and coastal area. This is an important thing, is to think about the quality, to follow the quality, the evolution of quality of water. For example, some times ago, they just discovered plastic in the summit of the Mont Blanc. So at 4,800 meters of altitude. So this plastic is coming from where? From the sea. So this is very important. Now we are in a process very complicated to control the quality of water, because when the quality decrease, the investment increase. So this is important to follow that. and towards a convergence, as you told, about the freshwater and ocean policies, as we have participated in UNOC 3 in Nice this year. And and there is also thematics, and the purpose of the kickoff is to discuss with all the partners about this thematic and to focus on one we are going to develop and to present it. So it's quite open. There is no, we are in Barcelona, we want really to discuss with all the partners, UNESCO, SIAM, etc., Arab Water Council. I call for the dams, FAO, etc. So this is, you have a list, it's not complete, but this is a list of possible, all these lists correspond to the conference organized last year and this year by the Mediterranean Water Institute. And so we think that there is something to follow in this different aspect. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, unfortunately, I think we have no time for we have no time for question for the final session. You are all invited in Barcelona. Anyway, we keep in touch and we try to involve everyone in the discussion of the themes and thematics, as Alain has said. Let me thank you all for this long but fruitful afternoon, and let me thank some special person in particular. I mean, Ilario Orlandi, who is not here, but with Rula Cadera, they have from a material point of view, build all these project and all these meeting. Malika, who is here with us and help us with efficiency. And then Amel, where is Amel? Amel Azab and all the team from Arab Water Council, they have been extraordinary. Shireen and obviously the president of the Arab Water Council, my friend Hussein El Atfi, he was there. I don't know if, okay. Really, our Water Council has been a fantastic partner. We hope that we will continue to have this strong partnership. And then Filippo Soccodato, who is the Secretary General of the One Water Committee and who is working every day and every night for all this project and all our forum. So thank you all, Alain, obviously, and all the speakers and everyone. Thank you very much.
إذا سمحتم، احنا طبعا بنشكر حضراتكم جميعا الحضور الموجود معانا وسعدنا بيكم، ويا ريت تفضلوا معانا كده ربع ساعة أو حاجة. المجلس العربي للمياه إن شاء الله بصدد توقيع اتفاق تعاون مع معهد قبرص للبحوث والدراسات. فإذا كان حبيتكم تحضروا معانا شوية، هم في الطريق يعني جايين. أكرر شكري وتقديري لحضراتكم. لمين؟ رولا يلا يلا كمان دكتور محمود. هنعمل صورة مجمعة.
While they do their picture, their photo, I remember you that at the end, in 10 minutes, we will have the aperitif in the swimming pool area for the ones that have collected the coupon, the invitation. So for them, we have the aperitif, final aperitif.
Vieni. Abbiamo chiamato 2 volte.
دكتورة أمل Thank you.
Okay. And thank you, my friend.
When are you going to?
Yeah. No, tomorrow day. What they I'm going. Yeah, I'm staying here. Okay. Yeah, I'm staying.
هلا الأمضة يعني دكتور حسين أي ساعة الأمضة؟
المفروض يجوا دلوقتي هو عندهم جلسة سعيدة.
Yes, I will be.
بيبعتوا كل الدكتور هو بقول لك الوزاره زمان يعني ما بتصل
And after every surgery pass,
اتصور معاك بس اسمك صور مع اساتذتي مع الموسيقى مع الفرق مصر مسافه السن